In this lesson, we are going to be learning how to solve multi-step equations. Now, multi-step equations are really similar to solving one and two-step equations because we're still trying to get x by itself, but there are a few extra things that you may have to worry about. Okay, there are four basic steps that help us solve any equation. The first thing is if you see parentheses, we should multiply to get rid of them. We essentially do that by using the distributive property. The second thing is to combine like terms on the left side and then on the right side. It just makes it a little bit easier to get rid of your opposites because you have less opposites, so you have to worry about them. Now when we get to step 3, we're actually going to use those opposites of addition or subtraction to get numbers on one side of the equal sign and letters on the other. And then the final step will be to divide by the number in front of the letter or the variable, and then we're done. So let's see some of this in action. Okay, first we're going to start with a couple combining like terms examples. This one is x plus 5 plus 5x equals negative 7. On the left side I have two terms that are alike because they both have an x. Don't forget there's invisible 1 here. When I see combining like terms, I'm going to imagine that I was just doing regular addition or subtraction, that stuff that we're used to. So 1x plus 5x would be 6x. And then I'll just bring everything else down that I haven't used yet, which is the plus 5, the equal sign, and the negative 7. Well, now I'm at a two-step equation, and at this point I'm going to work on getting things together that don't have x's. So that would be these two. So I will subtract 5 from both sides to get those to cancel out. I will bring down the 6x, the equal sign, and this will become negative 12. Now my final step is to get rid of the 6, which I will do using division. That crosses out, and x is by itself, which equals negative 2. Second example, negative 4 minus 3b plus 7. My like terms this time are negative 4 and the 7. Be careful, we're going to add them, not subtract them, because there's a plus sign in front of the 7. So negative 4 plus 7 is positive 3. And then just like before, I'll bring everything else down. So that's all by itself. I need to get these two things together that do not have a letter attached to them, so that means I'll get rid of the 3, so I'll do minus 3 on both sides. That's gone. And then I will end up with 3b equals negative 3. To get rid of the negative 3, I will just divide by negative 3 on both sides. We're dividing by negative 3 because we need to get rid of that negative sign also. So b is now by itself, and negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. Final answer. Next example, negative 6 plus 5n equals 4n minus 3. This example is a little bit different than the last two because if you carefully check the left side and then the right side, you'll notice that there's nothing to combine. This is a case of variables on opposite sides. So what we're going to want to end up doing is we're going to need to get these two together and these two together because their labels match. It does not matter which order you start with. You could choose any one of these four to get rid of first, as long as you end up with letters on one side and numbers on the other. So if I'm going to try and make that happen, ending up with letters on one side and numbers on the other, I think I'm going to start by moving the 4n this way. So that means I will subtract 4n from both sides. Those will cross out, and this will be a 1n. Don't forget to bring everything else down. I put a plus sign here because it's a positive one. And now I'm going to get rid of this negative 6 and move it to the other side. The opposite is adding. Those, remember, cross out. We got 1n by itself now, and negative 3 plus 6, my bad, is a regular 3. And to finish this one up, we could just get rid of the 1, and final answer would be n equals 3. One more quick example of variables on opposite sides. Let's say that I decided that I wanted to start by moving some numbers first. So I'm going to get rid of this negative 10 here because I really don't like it. I'm going to send it this way. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides, which means this will cross out. Negative 7 plus 10 makes 3, and I'll bring everything else down. So now I want to get my x's together. I'm going to send the 7x that way to put it with the 6. So I will subtract negative 7 from both sides. They cross out. Bring down the 3, bring down the equals, and 6 minus 7 is negative 1x. Now remember, if you end up with something like this, we cannot leave a negative sign in front of x, so that means I'm going to have to get rid of it. This is a pretty easy trick. We'll just divide by negative 1 on both sides. X is by itself. Bring down the equals. Final answer is negative 3. It is totally fine that our answer is backwards. We're good. This is done. Okay, so now what if we see parentheses in our equation? We're going to need to multiply to get rid of them, which means that we'll use the distributive property. So remember, you're only going to multiply to the stuff inside parentheses, so that would mean 8 times x, which would be 8x, 8 times negative 5, which is negative 40, and then everything else gets to come down. Oh, hey, look, this now looks really similar to what we just did last time. I'm going to send 40 this way to make it easy to work with. Plus 40, plus 40. 40s are gone. Negative 36 plus 40 is a regular 4. So then again, I'll just bring everything else down. I need to get the x's together, which means that I'm going to send the 6x that way. So I'll subtract 6x from both sides. Those are gone. 4 is by itself. Equals comes down, and 8x minus 6x is 2x. Finally, we got to get rid of the 2. So I'll divide by 2 on both sides, which means that my final answer will be x equals 2. Done. Okay, last distributive property example. I'm just going to start this one. Just because I want to remind you guys that if you have extra stuff on the same side as your set of parentheses, it's only the number in front of the parentheses that we end up distributing. So this would become negative 24m, and this would become 21. Everything else just gets brought down. And then after that, we would end up combining like terms. So just another distributive property trick. One more quick thing to talk about when you are solving multi-step equations is that you may end up seeing some funky solutions. If you see something that looks like this, x equals 0, that just means that the solution is 0, or the answer is 0. It is totally fine to have a 0 answer. I know that it freaks people out, but don't worry about it. This one is actually more of a funky type of solution. Because 5 and 6 are not equal to each other, we would just say that the answer to this one is no solution. However, if all of your letters disappear and you just have numbers, but they are actually the same they are actually the same on both sides, we would say that this is a case of infinitely many solutions. That's it. Thanks for watching.